So, the main reason we need to take probiotics and eat fermented foods is they're good for us, but again, cultures never had to worry about that because it was always part of their normal diet, and never before in history have people been germaphobes. We've never had pasteurization and heat and radiation and all these things to kill all these organisms, and it's caused a lot of problems in our society and in our health. So this is a good way to reestablish that balance back into the intestinal tract. There's a whole list of different foods that different cultures have eaten throughout history that are fermented. Again, unfortunately in the store you're not going to find the best quality stuff. If you think about the way traditionally pickling and things like that have been done, it's not the healthiest form. Vinegar is not the healthy way to pickle things. Okay? It's a brine salt mixture that's the healthy way to do it. But you're not going to find that in the stores because it's not going to have as long of a shelf life. So the best thing to do is to do it yourself. So that's what we're going to do tonight. You can look at all the benefits. Did somebody have a question?
Yeah, just real quick. So is it still considered, if it's fermented, is it still considered raw, or is that not?
Oh, absolutely.
Is it still considered a raw?
Definitely raw. Yeah, because you never heat or cook anything.
Right.
Yeah, we're not going to be heating anything really.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying I didn't know if that was still considered a raw.
Yeah, it's still considered a raw product, and especially because if you look at one of the benefits, number 3, they're rich in enzymes, and that's the main benefits of raw foods is they're rich in living enzymes, and that's the whole one of the main purposes of eating raw foods. It's getting the living bacteria, the living enzymes. Things haven't been heated, killed, and destroyed. Well, let me get started on this. I had a little burner that we don't have anymore, so I'm going to kind of improvise. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just get started the culture starter. The culture starter is for the veggies. Okay? The kefir starter is for kefir, young coconut kefir or goat's milk kefir. I haven't brought goat's milk, but unfortunately since they don't have the little burner, we can't make it. But I'm still going to show you how to do it because it's super simple. So I'm going to get this started, and what you do to start this is a culture starter kit, Body Ecology, and I think there's other companies that sell these, but Body Ecology, Donna Gase, is the best known one. And all we're going to do is we're going to get some 90-degree water, so you can be really anal if you want and get a little thermometer and stick it in there and get it at 90 degrees, or you can just kind of guesstimate like I do. But it always works out fine. You don't have to be perfect. That's the other thing. People get intimidated because they think everything has to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. Scalding hot is too hot. Lukewarm is not hot enough. So somewhere between lukewarm and scalding hot, like a comfortable heat, like if you get in like in a nice bathtub, that's going to be your temperature for this. So I'm going to get a little water out of this and get that started. This just has a hot water. Okay, so I do the finger test. It's hot, but not too hot. And I'm going to add this in. See, this is really easy, huh? See how I'm an expert here? See, add the starter in.
Hard to carry with you on a travel trip.
What's that?
Be hard to fly with that, wouldn't it?
It would be. Now,
tell me how much water did you use?
just about a half cup.
Okay.
Yeah, not a lot of water. And then the important thing is to add this. This is the sugar that feeds the beneficial bacteria. Okay, this is what wakes them up and they start eating this. Okay, and it takes them about, she recommends about 20 minutes to them to wake up and start eating the sugar. So I'm not shy on this. I do the full 3 teaspoons. So 1, 2, 3.
What is that?
This is actually chicory. Okay, chicory is a prebiotic. Prebiotics feed good bacteria in the system. It's another reason that eating, fresh vegetables are so important. Celery and beets and your greens, like your grasses, oatgrass, barley grass, wheatgrass, all those things are prebiotics. They feed good bacteria to help them to grow and proliferate in the body. Okay, You can use, and this is on the back page, actually, the recipe. And also, if you buy the starter kit, it's right on there. It's really simple. But I think sometimes people don't add enough of the sugar for the bacteria to consume. And that's why a lot of people, when they do their product, they're like, mine doesn't smell, or it doesn't really seem fermented. I think that's why. I don't think they use enough of the sugar. You can use a little bit of honey. You can use agave. You can use sucanat. You can use anything like that. Okay? So we're going to let these guys hang out, like I said, about 20 minutes. So as far as the rest of it goes, and I hope I got all the right equipment because, like I said, I'm not an expert in this. But so this is yummy cabbage. Okay, cabbage isn't the greatest food to eat raw like this. I don't know a lot of people that eat it that way, and it's actually not a very good. It's kind of a hard food to digest too. It can create gas and things like that. So fermented makes it an edible, much more edible food. So if you look at the recipe on the back, this is what we're following. The cultured veggie recipe. So to be honest with you, this isn't even a full recipe. This is the largest bowl I had. This is only 2 heads of cabbage that are like this big. 2 not very big heads of cabbage. The recipe calls for 3.
Is it Napa cabbage or?
What's that?
Is that Napa or is that just regular Napa cabbage?
I'm not sure if it's Napa or not. I mean, I got it at Whole Foods. So. Yeah. Okay, and then the carrots. Okay, so all these are all just shredded. I haven't done anything else fancy to them. These are just shredded in a food processor. Ooh. Okay, so carrots, right? Ginger. I love ginger. And I hope you guys don't mind, but I'm like a ginger fanatic, so I'm a little heavy on the ginger. That's just me.
Why are you a fanatic on the ginger?
Just, I love ginger. I love the taste. I love the smell. I love the benefits it has for digestion and circulation, and it's just one of the best foods you can put in your body. You guys smell it?
The breeze comes through the window.
All right.
Smells great.
Okay, and then garlic. This is 6 cloves of garlic. So you just combine these things, mix them up, and then in a minute we're going to make a brine. And I think maybe the brine's another place where people kind of get confused, but it's really not that hard.
Smells pretty good.
It's pretty exciting, huh? You guys are like, ooh. Okay, so that's it. Just a bunch of shredded stuff. It's like super simple. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make a brine. Okay, and all you do to make the brine is you're going to take a couple cups of this, which you see I don't have a measuring cup, so I'm going to throw in what I think is a couple cups. Don't have to be exact. I'm going to add a little bit of celery, a couple stalks of celery, and then the fermented probiotics. We're going to blend it in the Vitamix into like a thick juice. We're going to add it to this. We're going to stir it all up. We're going to stuff it into jars. That's it. You should be able to do this in less than an hour. And like I said, this isn't even a full recipe, and look at all that. And I'm single, I live by myself. I'll be eating this for like months. So, and the thing about the starter kits is this starter kit has 6 packets in it. So I can do this 6 times. So, I don't know, maybe a year I'll go through this, you know? So that's
So
pretty
you
good
keep
deal.
it in jars and it doesn't have to be refrigerated, right?
No. Okay, so,
Wow.
yeah. The key is not to refrigerate it,
Yeah.
okay? Because, you know, why do we put things in the refrigerator? To slow down bacterial growth, right? So because this is a living bacteria, if you put it in the refrigerator, it will ferment. It'll just ferment really, really, really slowly. So what you do is you want to keep it at room temperature, about 70 to 75 degrees. And 3 days minimum. She says up to a week, and you can let that sucker sit out for a month. You know, really the longer the better. The more it ferments, the better. You want to have a nice, tight, sealed, closed container, like a mason jar, like a canning jar, or I have these. I had a hard time finding jars, so. But this has a seal on it, and it has a clamp. So as long as it's sealed tight, because the key to fermentation is no oxygen. Okay, so there can't be any oxygen in it. We're going to stuff it as tight as we possibly can. Don't let any oxygen in it, and that's what's going to let it ferment. Like I said, you'll know it's done because of the smell.
So when you do the mason jars, how do you clamp them shut?
Make sure you
Like, how do you
Well, they close really tight. Yeah, like if you got one of these jars, you know, it's got the lid, and then it seals tight. As long as it's sealed tight, so no
so
oxygen
you don't like
can
knock
escape.
it down or anything?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. I mean, when we put the fermented foods in there, we're gonna stuff them in there, so it's tight. Again, we don't want any oxygen. We want it tight. So, and that's kind of a good, I don't know, tie-in to what goes on in the body. You know, again, we have good bacteria, and we have bacteria sometimes that's overrun, candida overgrowth, fungal overgrowth, things like that. Same thing. They want an oxygen-poor environment so that they can overgrow and overrun too. So we want to flood the body with an oxygen-rich environment with good living bacteria, create a healthy intestinal tract. That's Donna Gates' body ecology. That's her whole deal. She's linked intestinal disorders, candida and things like that to autism, ADD, cancer, everything you can possibly think of. So,
Did you sterilize the jar before you put them?
I wash them with soap and water. I don't sterilize them like with hydrogen peroxide or something like that, because I don't want to take the chance of killing any of the beneficial bacteria. So I just wash it with a good natural soap and hot water. That's what I do.
The way I sterilize my jars when I'm going to sterilize them, I put in the oven for 200
Yeah, heat'll do it too, sure.
for 10 minutes.
What were you going to say, Gina?
So if you use a mason jar which has a metal cap,
Right?
do you put some parchment paper in between the metal cap and the food? Because otherwise you're not supposed to use metal.
Ideally, yeah.
Because otherwise it's going to leach the metal into
Yep.
the food.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ideally, yeah. And again, it depends on how much of a perfectionist you want to be.
Well, do you fill it up so far that it actually touches the
metal.
mason, the top of the lid?
Almost. The cabbage rolls are going to be at the very top. After you've stuffed the jar, then we're going to roll up some cabbage. That's what this is. Just some cabbage leaves, just to leave
Right.
some room for expansion. Okay? And yeah. So with these jars, you know, we don't have to worry about that. These are all glass. But with mason jars, yeah, you could put something on there if you were concerned about that.
Wax paper, parchment.
Yeah, like wax paper, parchment paper, something like that. Sure. So the other thing we're going to do, I have the kefir starter kit. Like I said, I can't heat up the goat's milk to make goat milk kefir. Kefir, it's all on here, and the benefits of kefir as well. Ideally, I was actually kind of torn of even doing it at all because milk in the grocery store is pasteurized. I would love to use raw milk, but raw milk's really not in season right now. It'll be cranking again next month. But you can get raw goat's milk at farms around here and make your own kefir. Super duper easy.
Oh,
What?
go ahead.
Okay. What's the difference between kefir and yogurt? Okay.
I don't always use the best terminology, but I like to say kefir is like yogurt on steroids.
Not that they're steroids.
Kefir is much right. I know, that's why I say that jokingly. But kefir is much stronger than yogurt.
So it's kind of a very strong yogurt.
Yeah, you could look at it that way. Yep. It's much healthier for the gut. It has a lot more beneficial bacteria and stronger strains. You know, it's kind of funny because how things, they take so long to kind of become mainstream, especially in our medical community, but you're actually hearing doctors now saying to eat yogurt. But what's funny is you can eat yogurt all you want, but you'd have to eat like 100 or 200 containers of yogurt to get what they have like in a probiotic supplement that are on the market, but they don't know that, you know. But at least the recognition is out there that those beneficial bacteria are good for us. Of course, you buy the yogurt in the store; it's been pasteurized and everything else and fortified.
What is kefir then? I mean, what's the difference between the yogurt? I still don't have a clear answer.
It's a different strain that they use. It'd basically be like a different starter kit. Okay, the kefir is a specific strain of bacteria. It's it's a lactobacillus culture. They use different cultures in the yogurt. Yeah.
But the taste is
Kefir's stronger.
Yeah.
Definitely has a stronger bite. Stronger
Depends on
taste
what
to it.
milk you start with. If you use a raw cow milk, it's much creamier and milder than if you use goat milk. And in winter, as you were saying, I only find raw goat milk, so that's really strong. But it's good. It's really good.
Yeah, so on kefir, real quick, you can use coconut water, you can use goat milk, you can use cow's milk. And yeah, the fact of the matter is, it's best and it's easiest in cow's milk. It just is. It ferments the best, it cultures the best.
If you use raw cow's milk, I mean, how hot do you have to heat it up to make kefir?
To make the kefir, I mean, the instructions are in here. Like I said, we're not going to be able to do it, but all you do is you take a couple cups of goat's milk or cow's milk. You're going to heat it up to what they call skin temperature. When it just starts to develop a little skin, it's about 92 degrees or something like that. Then you add the culture in, you take it off the heat, stir it up, and you let it sit on the counter for 24 hours, and then you refrigerate it.
You know what I do actually? I just take, because I do kefir all the time, and I just fill a sink with hot water, and I just let the jar with the milk sit in there until it's, sort of warming up, and it works great.
Really?
It just ferments in no time at all anyway. So
Cool.
you don't even have to heat it up on the stove.
Yeah. Just as long as you get it up to that
Yeah, I
temperature
mean, it's
to wake
big
the
enough.
cultures up,
Yeah.
basically.
So then
Yeah.
do you have a little culture that you strain out of it after it's ready, like
No.
you do?
No, that's what you eat. I mean, that's the living bacteria. That's what you want. That's what you want to consume.
Okay, so the kind of kefir that you pass from one person to another actually has a little organism.
You're thinking of kefir grains, and you can do it with that. That's
Oh, yeah,
like a
that's-
powder.
Okay.
If you buy the grains, then yes, so then you strain out the grains, and the grains keep on growing and
Right.
growing. Once you buy once, you never buy the grains again.
Right.
Because actually you end up throwing away grains, giving them away. You don't know what to do with the grains after
And
a
I've never
while.
used the kefir grains.
No, it's just,
But
it's true.
with the other thing with kefir and the kefir starter cultures is you can reuse the same batch. So you can take, you can make a gallon of it. You can take a half a cup, or is it a half a cup or a cup? It says in there, but you take like a half a cup of it
Start
to
your
a
next
gallon
batch.
to start your next batch. And you can redo that. She recommends doing that 7 times. You can do that 7 times. So again, if you want to look at cost effectiveness, there's 6 packets in here. You make 1 batch. You can reuse the same batch 7 times before you even need a second package. So you can do these fermented foods for super duper cheap.
Like on the grains, you have to do it every 24 hours. Do you have to do that? Can you keep that in the first one you make in the refrigerator for several days before you take a half?
This
cup
is good
out?
for about a week.
And then you
Kefir's good for about a week in the refrigerator, and you want to use that current batch to make a new batch within 3 days, ideally.
3 days.
Yep. And all of that, again, is listed right on the instructions that come in the box.
Can you use cow's milk from the grocery store?
You can.
As a start?
You can. Yeah, just to start. Yeah, that's totally fine.
You just look for antibiotic-free or non-homogenized or something?
Right. You want to get organic. It's going to be pasteurized because that's law, but you can get non-homogenized organic milk in the grocery store. So it won't be homogenized, no antibiotics, no growth hormones if you buy organic. It's the best you're going to find in the grocery store.
And I'm sorry, you have to use dairy with that? It could be the coconut milk.
Coconut's great.
Without
The only thing is
dairy.
coconut, it doesn't quite work as well. It doesn't quite
Doesn't
ferment as
cream.
well.
Uh-huh.
You have to let it sit longer. You let it sit for like 48 hours. And what I did, because we had class before and we've been talking about coconuts a lot, so I'm going to crack some open, show you how I open them, which is probably maybe not the way you'll open them, but I'm going to show you the way I open them, and I want everybody to try some too because they're so good. But you have to do a quart in one batch, and it takes a lot of these coconuts, a lot of water out of these coconuts to get a quart. So you probably need like a case of coconuts. So I just got a couple for us to try because it's fun and I love the taste of them.
Where do you purchase your young coconuts?
You can get young coconuts at any Asian market. The one I get them at is the 888 International Market. It's at 119th and 69 Highway.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep, you can get
How
ginger
much are
root
they?
there, and you can get a lot of things.
How much are they there?
These are $1.79 a piece.
Okay.
At if you buy a case, you can buy a case for like $12.
Oh, that's not
And if you buy them at Whole Foods, they're $4 a piece.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've seen them at Whole Foods and they're really
And it's the
expensive.
exact
Of course, everything's
same
expensive.
coconut from the exact same company.
How much are they a piece at the Asian market?
$1.79. Unless you buy a case of 9, you can get a case of 9, usually for like $12.
So could you use coconut water like from Whole Foods, or is that diluted too thinly?
For cheap.
Is that different?
I wouldn't. Yeah, just because they usually, you'd have to check it, make sure it's just pure coconut water. But again, when was that coconut cracked? You know, once things are cracked and exposed to the air and oxygen and the elements, it's not as good. Plus, you get the added benefit of eating the coconut flesh, which is awesome. It's like candy, it's like dessert. So if you've never had young coconut flesh, you're totally in for a treat.
Well, and you can also buy young coconuts at the Asian market and the city market. There's an
Yeah,
Asian
probably.
market,
City market, yeah.
Somebody lives north.
Like River Market?
River Market.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's make our brine real quick. I'm going to grab the celery that's in the fridge.
And again, just like the milky flavor. Once you start and it's not going, they just throw in no bite it. But you do have to strain them, whereas with that stuff you don't
grain.
have to. Yeah. They're like curd, basically. It's like a curd.
And see, when I did it, they told me.
So
Have you done it with just the coconut?
Is everyone cool with the door and the window open? I think it feels much better. Okay.
White, they put a solution.
It's only February.
In pollution and
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't feel like
So,
pretty color.
I don't know if this is in Donna Gates' recipe or not, but somebody told me once to add some celery to the brine, and I really like doing that, so I did it.
even the organic one.
So we're going to take a couple cups of this.
That's it.
Is it a couple cups?
Yeah, another couple.
There we go. Okay. Gonna add in the celery. Gonna add a little bit of water. You want to use a good filtered water without like chlorine and fluoride. Don't use tap water, please.
Yeah. It defeats the purpose.
Yeah. I definitely need a little more water. It's too thick.
Big mixer. That's about a mixer. You did probably buy it.
I like that. I don't know.
That's good stuff. So see, it's like kind of like a thick, almost like a milkshake.
Did you just pulse it or what?
Yeah, I just pulse it. I don't like crank it on high or anything. And then we got our little starter guy right here. We're gonna add. Ooh, man. We're gonna add him. Okay. kind of stir it up. I don't know. I've heard some people say that if you put the starter cultures in a high-powered blender, it'll like damage them or something.
If they heat up.
Yeah, plus it could heat them up because of the Vitamix. So I just add them and stir it, just to be safe. Okay, so now you got your soupy brine stuff. Add that in there. Mmm.
Yeah, it does.
Is anybody starving yet?
It's really good. My body craves them all. It's
Yeah.
culture. Vegetables, yeah. If I go without it for like.
Yeah, when my digestion was really weak, man, I was digging these things, man. All day, every day, I would eat it like a meal.
Yeah, that doesn't last long in my house actually.
Really?
Yeah, no.
A batch this big doesn't?
Oh no.
Just you?
Jason and me, but we both we eat a lot of it.
Yeah.
Do you eat just once a day or more than once?
Well, I eat it in the evening. Otherwise, I used to bring it to the office, like I make kimchi, but everybody complained about the smell.
I had the same thing happen. I was eating it here, and yeah, they're like,
Not doing only the evening now.
I have to go outside and eat it.
But you know, I made this big batch of kimchi, and it was really, really spicy. So Jason didn't want it, and I kept on keeping it and eating it out of it for I tell you, it must have lasted 2 months. It really didn't go bad, but it got stronger and stronger.
Yeah, it will get stronger and stronger.
Yes, so everybody was complaining until it was done. It was very good though.
Sounds good.
So I'm being kind of careful to just to mix it up really, really good, so that every jar that I use, every batch is gonna, be properly fermented. That's it. You just made cultured vegetables. Super simple.
So you said brine, but you didn't have any salt in that one.
That's what I was going to ask you.
No.
Now traditionally people did use salt instead of adding the bacteria.
Yeah, well, the brine is
And
usually
what you
means
do
salt.
when you do that is that you're well fermenting. So the difference between that and using the salt system is that in the salt system you don't necessarily know what you're fermenting with, whereas there you know which bacteria you have in it.
But what if you put some of that culture, like if I make sauerkraut with brine with actual salt, and put some of the culture
I'm sure
in
you
there,
can.
would the salt kill the
No, it's just going to preserve it.
Yeah.
It won't hurt anything. And that's the other thing, is you don't even have to use a starter kit. You can make up this batch. We don't even have to do the whole, the body ecology starter kit and all that. You can just stick them in a jar and at room temperature and they'll ferment.
With salt and water, yeah.
Yep. But this is a lot, obviously better, a lot richer.
Because you
in
know what
bacteria.
you're
what kind
getting,
of
you know what
bacteria
strains
you're
you
getting,
get.
right.
When you well ferment, you don't know. And they say the acidophilus is the most aggressive form, and therefore it will take over the bad bacteria, which is why we don't get sick when we well ferment it. Otherwise,
Yeah, and
but
I'm
this
glad-
way you do know what you have in.
I'm glad you said that, because the lactobacillus, it's a replicating bacteria. Okay, so when you get it in your system, it starts to multiply like by the thousands every hour.
Oh, wow.
Yep, and there's other strains of bacteria like Bulgaricus and things like that are found in your colon that aren't. They're not self-replicating bacteria. So the lactobacillus are awesome, and that's why they're so healing, especially for small intestinal disorders. The lactobacillus is mainly in the small intestines, and it can root out a lot of pathogenic organisms and correct a lot of digestive orders. And you'll see on there the whole list of benefits from eating these types of fermented foods, because it just normalizes the gut. It'll help with gas, bloating, all those kind of things. So.
Have you ever tried to make it with just like a good quality probiotic instead of Donagate?
No, but you could.
Yeah, I try sometime.
Yeah.
But they all come out tasting differently. You do taste a difference when you well ferment, when you do Donagates. Donagates always taste good. When
Yeah.
you well ferment it, it really depends on the time, you know. I mean, once you had in the air, I think.
Right,
it
or
does.
whatever spores are floating
Yeah, whatever
around.
spores that, that's true.
Do I have a volunteer that wants to help me pack these so we can speed things up?
Sure.
Thank you. So ask questions. I can like multitask.
Do you want a couple of us up there doing it?
Sure.
Do you need the glass bowl, or is that,
What's that?
is plastic bowl okay, or glass?
Ideally glass. Again, it depends on how picky you want to be. I'm not overly concerned about that. And somebody could roll the cabbage leaves and put them in here. So what you do when you pack this in, so like this is just a dowel. You can use like a potato masher or just anything wooden. And just pack it in there as tight as you can. And then what you do is you roll, here's the masher.
Got a Kaibo?
Oh, you want to roll? Sure. Thank you. So then you take a cabbage leaf and you roll it like into a log and you put it at the top. And you're going to leave like a couple inches at the top for expansion. What you're going to find when you leave these babies sit after like a week, even as tight as you can pack them, you'll see it start oozing out the side. Which is good. That means it's working. It's doing what it's supposed to do. So, yeah, just put them in there and fold them up. And
It creates
you
some
can put
gas
another one
as it
so it's
ferments.
tight to the top. What's that?
Create gas as it ferments.
Yep, that's why it expands. Yep.
So have a towel underneath or something.
What's
So
that?
they ooze out like kind of a towel.
Yeah, I put them all. I put just a plastic bag underneath them. I set them on a rack and put a plastic bag underneath them to let the stuff drip on them. But however you want to do it, but just be forewarned that it could drip.
Is it a Kaibo that you're using?
Yeah.
Vaughn?
What's
Is
that?
that a Kaibo? The instrument you're using?
I have no idea what this thing is. It was in my drawer, and I'm like, hey, that's a mystery tool.
Got a Kaibo?
Yeah, it's a Vietnamese.
Yes.
They use it all the time.
Isn't this a potato slicer?
They pronounce
It's
it
you can do squashes, like you can hold the squash like
like
this,
zucchini to make
and then you
it.
can do zucchinis.
Eggs, you roll,
Cucumbers.
Yeah, we need to leave it alone.
Peeler.
But I can smash it
There's
down.
also a, yeah.
So can I bring in a squash and you teach me how to use it?
Yeah. Actually, do you know Shelton?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Shelton. His wife's Vietnamese, right?
yeah.
So she and Shelton showed me how to do it. He said, hold it, between your legs and then just go like this.
Oh really?
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Huh, that sounds dangerous.
Yeah, hold it with both hands and legs.
That could be adventurous.
I'm
All right, we're rocking. We got like assembly line going. No, you're fine. No, as long just fill it up to the top.
Would you
We're gonna run out?
demonstrate the
Yeah, let's.
Just roll it up as you are.
Yeah, they're just rolling it.
You know, I don't have to leave as much room at the top since it's.
Then, you said you leave some of it open, right?
Yep, you leave a little bit on the top open, and you put some rolled cabbage leaves at the top. It's like she's rolling them into little logs like that. Yep.
Did you tell us already why
What do you
you're
mean by
using the
open?
cabbage leaves?
Okay.
Fill it all the way up.
Well, because
Oh, okay, gotcha.
as this starts
So
fermenting,
it's
it's going to expand.
Okay.
So you got to leave some room for expansion. So the cabbage leaves keeps it tight at the top and keeps the oxygen out, but it still leaves a little room for it to expand.
Right.
Yes, it does.
This isn't pretty ample.
Yeah, I'm smashing it down. It's
I
perfect.
did more able to eat it. That is cool.
Oh, this turned out pretty good.
You could use the end of the vitamin plunger too.
Sure. Yeah, that'd probably work.
I wonder if it still causes the same amount of gas eating fermented cabbage versus raw.
Little jar.
Well, I actually got the little jars at Michael's.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's
Because this isn't season, this isn't canning season.
Right.
So a lot of the places you'll find it, like at Walmart and places like that, they don't have them.
Yeah.
So I went to Michael's and I'm like, hoping they'd have something, and these things are perfect.
Yeah.
I think
They
they call
clamp
them,
shut and everything.
I think they call them pharmacy jars.
Pharmacy jars?
They
Yeah.
use the medical powder.
Yeah, that, yeah.
Even airtight.
Or for some people, candy jars.
Well.
M&M jars.
World market.
I think a Pride's down in Westport has them year round.
Oh, I imagine they do, yeah.
Yeah, and World Market has them,
Do they? In what
and
part?
different sizes too.
Yeah. So does Crate and
I
Barrel.
haven't been there since the flood, so I don't.
Yeah, Crate and Barrel, though, these are $12 a piece. They got a C on them.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I'm going to crack open the coconuts for whoever wants to try those. If you haven't tried it, I really recommend it. And I'm going to show you how to find a good, healthy coconut, too. Because there's a lot of bad ones.
Shied away from them.
Really? You got a lot of bad ones?
Well, no, I just have stayed away from them because I didn't know how to handle them and didn't know how to.
Oh, okay, cool.
So this is perfect. That's why I came.
All right, okay. We didn't even know we were going to do that. Is there any left?
So is that turquoise?
Not enough. Okay.